This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his! How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and just going to go into this article real quick. All right, it goes, Is BRICS the new world order? All right, is BRICS the new world order? All right, this is dated September 9th, 2023. All right, the hopeful year where all the prophecies come to pass. All right, and this is all leading to, and you've heard this from our elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. All right, the coming, all right, mandatory implementation of the MOTB, which is known as the Mark of the Beast, as we go into this new so-called age of finance, new age of economy, and so on and so forth, something otherwise coined by the World Economic Forum, known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Okay, now this article here goes into, the BRICS and what's happening, but also we need to keep in mind the domino effect, all right, of what's happening geopolitically and how it's going to affect, all right, people here in America, Babylon the Great. Okay, so let's get into this. It says, in mid-August, a global summit of influential countries made headlines around the world, but it wasn't NATO or the G7. It was a summit for a coalition between, or known as the BRICS, or between the BRICS nations. Okay, now a summit is basically a top of a mountain. Okay, the very top of a mountain is the summit. All right, so they're saying that they call it a summit because it's when the top, or the heads of these global governments, okay, these governments around the world, all right, come together to meet and discuss what they call innovative ideas. Okay, stakeholders, prime ministers, presidents, heads of CEOs of companies, and so on and so forth. Okay, it says it's named after the original countries that founded the group in 2009, which are Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And then South Africa was added to the group in 2010. The recent summit put the bloc in the spotlight by announcing 6 new members that would join the BRICS group in January, on January 1st. And these countries are Argentina, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Okay, now keep in mind, like I said, majority of these countries that we just mentioned, for the most part, use or recognize the American dollar as the world reserve currency. Okay, world reserve currency simply means that the dollar is it's used by the banks of the world, basically the federal banks, okay, and so on and so forth, and it's usable via international trade. Okay, that's what makes it the world reserve currency. Okay, people trade, and basically, you have the resources, natural resources like oil. All right, you got timber. They go into these different countries and they're able to trade. All right, in the American so-called dollar. Okay, but now with the immersion, all right, of these countries coming together, all right, to form something known as BRICS, that's only going to affect America, because now they're not going to be using the American dollar, all right, as their world reserve currency. Now you're going to be using things like the yuan, all right, which is China's currency. All right, you're going to be using the ruble, which is the Russian currency. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to cause all right, the American dollar to be dumped back into America. All right, all these different nations are they're gonna send their dollars right back over here. Okay, and that's what's gonna cause something known as hyperinflation. Okay, now remember, inflation right now, all right, in America, all right, is pretty much caused by the supply, all right, chain. Okay, because of the lack of supplies. Okay, you have inflation, so-called, according to what they're saying, of course, right? But eventually, the demand side, because you have demand and you have supply. That's just the basics of economy, right? They teach us that it's supply and demand. No, it's the other way around. It's demand, and that's where you bring the supply. Okay, based on the demand, you bring the supply. Okay, so now the demand side is going to start taking a hit. All right, that's where the government comes in and they start to, manipulate the interest rates and so on and so forth. Because what that does is it quells people from spending. Okay, and that's also a chain reaction, because now people are not spending. That's also going to affect the businesses, right? The number one business I see being affected the most is going to be, cars. Okay, because everything, the American economy is based on credit. Okay, so you're buying and selling based on something that doesn't really exist. All right, so once they start hiking these interest rates, all right, that's also going to cause the prices to go up. Okay, and once the prices go up, people are going to be like, nah, I ain't trying to buy this, because you don't have enough money in your bank account. So that's, again, you're taking a hit in your pockets. These companies are going to take a hit in their pockets. What's that going to result in? It's going to result in a whole bunch of layoffs. Okay, so you have hyperinflation. Okay, you have a supply chain that's broken. You have a high demand of these supplies. Okay, and you have a whole bunch of people who are jobless. That is a recipe for disaster right there. Okay, and these nations, they see that. Okay, they see that. They see all the manipulation that's happening, and that's why they're shifting and switching, jumping ship. Okay, and a lot of these nations that are part of NATO, they're also going to start jumping ship, because they see the problem is America. Okay, they're looking at what's going on in Ukraine, and they're saying, listen, you're in your country, you're in the West, we're here in Europe. You think we want to go and keep provoking Russia the way you guys are telling us to? Because if something goes down, Russia is going to blow us the hell up. You see, these nations understand that. And they're looking at America like, yo, you all the way isolated in the West. Yeah, Russia can get to you, but dude, they're going to get to us first. And we ain't even the problem. You niggas is the one putting the battery in our backs. So that's going to cause, all right, the beast to hate the whore. Okay? So continuing, it says, currently the countries in the G7, including the United States, represent 10% of the world's population and roughly 42% of its GDP. By some estimates, the BRICS nations currently represent about 40% of the world's population and roughly a quarter of its GDP. Once the largest oil-producing nations join the bloc next year, its collective economy clout is expected to climb even more. All right, so 40% of the world's population, okay, is already on board with the BRICS, okay, the BRICS nations, okay. So again, that's going to only affect America, Babylon the Great, the worst, okay, because America's America's currency is the dollar, and these nations who are trading by using the dollar are shifting from that, okay. So the excess money is all going to come back dumped over here, and people are going to lose it. Okay, that's where you see second Ezra is coming into play. All right, because of lack of bread and for great tribulation, there's demand. There's a high demand, but there's no supply. That's the famine. You see, the supply chain stuff, back in 2019, 2020, listen, all that stuff is going to come to a head. Okay, especially in 2020 when it first started. You had what's that? Something canal. I forget the Suez Canal, I think. All right, and there was a ship that was blocked in there, a cargo ship, and then shortly after that, a few months after that or so, you had the whole, the coast, all the ships that were not being unloaded and shit. You know, hey, listen, that's going to take a huge effect, all right, on the economy if it hasn't already. Okay. So continuing says, once the largest oil producing nation join the bloc next year, its collective economic clout is expected to climb even more, and this is all going to brew into World War III because these American demons, they don't understand, all right, power being stripped from them. Okay, in their mind, their power is going to continue forever, like it tells in the Book of Psalm that they're in their mind they think that their houses shall continue forever. Let's see if we can get that real quick. Okay. You know, Esau is a devil. He thinks his shit going it's going to continue forever and ever and ever. Nah. Okay. Let's see if we can get that real quick. Let's see. Yeah, I can't find it right now. It might come back to me, but I want to finish this article real quick. All right. It says, once it comes back to me, Lord willing, I'll bring that precept back. Okay, but it basically saying that they're in their minds that they're basically their heritage and their houses shall continue forever. Okay, which is false because that's not in prophecy. Prophecy says there's going to be an end to your system and there's going to be a new world that comes after that, and there's not going to be a new world order underneath the bricks. You're sadly mistaken. Okay, it's going to be underneath your Yahushua and the Israelites. All right, and that's what's coming. That's the reality of the situation. Okay, you're welcome. Continuing says, reactions from Western observers are mixed, with some playing down the potential of for any economic or political rivalry with the group. It's impossible. Okay, America, knowing how they are, it's impossible. Okay, so let's keep going. It says, for example, former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton told CNBC it was not a particular concern, and this dude has been peddling World War since I don't even know how long. Okay. At least since I started paying attention to these people and these devils and how they move. All right, this dude, he got his little nasty mustache on his face. John Bolton, that guy. A whole Edomite demon. All right, and he's gonna be in chains soon. Okay, Ted Turner, yeah, he a Ted Turner lookalike. They all gonna be in slavery soon. The Klaus Schwabs of the world, the David Rockefellers who already died. The Lord gonna bring his ass right back. He gonna be in chains and shackles. Hillary Clinton, okay, she gonna be in shackles. Fauci, all right, the queen, so-called queen of England, Elizabeth, who passed earlier last year or late last year, she's gonna be brought back and chained. All right, Evelyn Rothschild, he passed last year, so-called, which I believe they're not really dying, they're just being sent into their bunkers to close out the show type shit. But that's my personal opinion, But they all gonna be brought back and put into chains, like it tells you in the Book of Psalm. All right, bind their kings with chains and fetters of iron. Okay. Hey, enough. Continuing, it says, I don't think they constitute a serious challenge at this point because the biggest economy of the group, China, is itself not going into a period of potential real trouble, said Bolton, underscoring the potential for political infighting. Russian President Vladimir Putin attended the summit virtually because the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant against him for alleged war crimes in Ukraine. What about America? What about the billions of dollars that's being sent over to Ukraine to aid in this Ukraine-Russia war? What about America? They're not going to be brought to charges for war crimes? You're going to war, so you're fighting somebody, right? You all the way in the West, sending aid over there to a country that borders Russia, but then they're being quiet. They're being told that, this is war crimes. No, that makes no sense. All right, but this is exactly what Esau does with propaganda, with their CIA. They push these type of things and have the whole world, bugging the hell out, confused as all hell. Okay, And they're suffering. Americans are suffering, and they don't even know how and why. They just suffering. It says South Africa is a signatory to the ICC treaty would have been, as a signatory to the ICC treaty, would have been obligated to arrest Putin had he landed on its territory. And I remember the South African president, if I'm not mistaken, was asked this question. You know, would you arrest Putin if he was to come over here? He said, yo, Putin is a friend of ours. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to arrest him. What the hell did he do wrong? He said, if anything, you Americans are the ones we're going to arrest because of all the shit that you've done and you continue to do and are planning to even do some more. Okay? But remember, America, your judgment is with the Heavenly Father. So it's not really, a topic of, who's being arrested and who's not. We already gave you names. All right? You top elites is who we're talking about. And once your asses are in chains, your red, pink asses are in chains, the peace of this earth will come back. Okay? You are the problem. You are the cancer of the earth. All right? And you're going to be eliminated. All right? Eventually, the Lord is going to come back. Yahushua is coming back, and he's going to eliminate you devils from your rulership positions. All right? No more UN meetings. No more NATO meetings. No more summits. None of that bullshit. It's all over. Okay? It's a wrap. Okay? So it says, but others see BRICS as a rapidly growing superpower of nations and the recent summit as a major show of influence for China. So now these countries, like we mentioned earlier, who are part of BRICS, in their mind, everything is shifting over to them, right? The global powers is shifting over to them. That hence the title is the BRICS, a new world order. Okay, is this a formation of a so-called new world order? But guess what? That's part of the reason why they all gonna come together and fight when the Lord comes back, because in their mind they're up to rule. China, Russia, all of them, they think the economy. Oh yeah, America is ruled. Now it's our turn to rule. They know America is going down, right? It's been over 100 years now since America became, or the dollar became the world's reserve currency. So they know is a tide turning, but they don't understand that it's not them who gets to rule next. They don't see it that way. You see, so that reality is going to come crushing down on them, and they're not going to know from whence it came from. Continuing, it says, earlier this year, China mediated the de-escalation between Saudi Arabia and Iran by helping to reopen diplomatic channels between them. In Africa, China has also made significant inroads by building infrastructure and growing its influence across the continent, accomplishments that Chinese President Xi Jinping highlighted at the summit. Over the past decade, China has provided a large number of development assistance to Africa and has helped build more than 6,000 kilometers of railway, more than 6,000 kilometers of highway, and 80 plus large power facilities on the continent, Xi Jinping said. And that sounds completely opposite from what the Americans are doing. These Edomites are straight up going in there. They're like, well, listen, we're not going to be, building these things for free. We can give you military aid. You just got to accept our LGBTQ movement. That's what they focused on. China is going over there and building railways and highways and power facilities. These niggas out here saying, we're going to give you money, just accept gay people, transgender people. It says, China alone has overtaken the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank as the world's largest creditor, lending hundreds of billions of dollars across the globe. And what does the scripture say about those who lend? Okay, it says the borrower is slave to the lender. Okay, let's see if we can get that real quick. Let's see. All right, it's in the book of Proverbs. All right, chapter 22 and verse 7, it says, the rich ruleth over the poor, right? And that's why these devils are pushing, all right, to gain all the power. You notice what happened over the past 3 years. All right, you had a shift in the economic structure. Okay, you used to have the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. Right now, there's no such thing as middle, upper, or lower. You just have upper class and lower class. Everyone in the middle class has been brought down to lower class. Okay. So now you have a whole bunch of people who are claiming to be so-called billionaires and multimillionaires. They're considered to be the rich. All right. And their mindset is, well, it's in the scriptures, so we're going to do it. They're going to be ruling over who? The poor. Okay. It says what? And the borrower is servant to the lender. And that's why they have banks. And what do banks do? They have money and power. And the power and the money comes from what? The interest. Okay. They lend you the money, what they call loans. Okay. And then you become what? You become a debtor. Okay. You're borrowing money on credit. It's all credit. And you become a debtor. You're in debt to them. And if you don't pay, well, they'll show you something, you know. And Esau's banking system is all done on fraud anyway. Okay, the system is a fraudulent system. All right, that's how they get people. You know, how the hell do you get a loan for $20,000 and you paying back $40,000? Like, what's going on with that? You know, straight fraudulent, man. And that's why this whole place is going to be destroyed. Okay, that's all resulting in that thick clay. All right, because these niggas, the Americans can't pay this shit back. Apparently, just the military spending alone, or about what, $2.3 trillion or so, something like that. All right, that's about just 25% of military spending. $2.3 trillion, and they're saying that if you calculate that, that'll be for every man, woman, and child in America. That's $8,000 right there that you got to pay. That's the equivalent of $2.3 trillion. And that's just 25% of the military spending. So, hey, and that's the 25% of military spending. I forgot to add that they're not even accounted for. So whatever they're using that money for, we don't know. Yeah. It says, one of the central appeals of the BRICS group is its, quote, new development bank, end quote, intended to be an alternative lending option to the IMF and World Bank. Well, it's interesting because the IMF is pushing for the MOTB, and the World Bank is already sitting, all right, waiting for that MOTB to be out so they can regulate. You have something known as Fed now. Okay, you have the CBDC, right? So these are all things leading to the MOTB. These other nations are all part of that. Russia is going to be a part of that digital world. China is going to be a part of that digital world. Okay, but ultimately, who's behind this transfer of power from the dollar to the BRICS currency that they're going to be using? Who? Ultimately, like they said, a new world order. Okay, a new world order. It says, critics claim the United States holds too much power within the IMF and World Bank, which often impose lending requirements and penalties that are too stringent for the poorest countries. There you go. All right, the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay. It says, and the rich do what? They rule over the poor. Okay. It says the pandemic, all right, the pandemic, all right, has underscored once again how the global financial architecture is outdated, dysfunctional, and unjust. It has failed in its basic function as a global safety net, said Antonio Gutierrez, United Nations General Secretary, and he's also a demon. Okay, I believe he's that demon that came out and said something about, the world is shifting from global warming to global boiling. Okay, let me see if that's him. Let me find his name real quick. Antonio Gutierrez. Let's see. Antonio Gutierrez. Yep, that's him. I knew it was his demon. Antonio Manuel de Oliveira Gutierrez. Okay, he's a so-called Portuguese politician and diplomat since 2017. He has served as Secretary General of the United Nations. He's the 9th person to hold this title. A member of the Portuguese Socialist Party, Gutierrez served as Prime Minister of Portugal from 1995 to 2002, and that was part of the formative years of this so-called New World Order. Okay, this dude is 74 years old, still talking about, oh, the earth is in trouble and global leaders must come together and the world is going to go from global warming to global boiling. You are a 74-year-old nigga. You should be retired, sitting someplace with all the money you've made, chilling someplace. No, you talk about global domination. That's what's wrong with these devils, man. They don't get their money and power and go sit down someplace and chill with their decrepit old pink red asses. They just want to jump in and tell people what to do. Oh, you own nothing and you be happy. Oh, there's too many people on the planet. Where if we eliminate about 2 billion people, I think the rest we can work with. There's just way too many people on the earth. Way too many people. We need to, depopulate. The earth is boiling. The earth is in trouble because there's way too many people. Fuck out of here, man. Like I said, once we chain you devils, put your asses in slavery, the earth is going to rejoice. Okay, scriptures tell you that the earth burst forth shouting. Let's see if we can get that. Let's see if we can get that real quick. Blue letter be blowing my eyes, man. Let's see if we can get that real quick. There you go. There's a book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 10. It says, when it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoiceth. And when the wicked perish, there is shouting. You see? So once you devils are taken out of place, all right, the whole earth is going to be rejoicing. Let's see if we can get that real quick. Proverbs 29 and 2. Okay? Because we all tired of you devils, man. It's not just us who you put in captivity, okay? And you gonna go into captivity according to what the scripture says. In the book of Revelation, it tells you that. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And the world sees clearly that you're the devils of the earth, man. Okay? Talking about global boiling. How's the globe gonna be boiling? With all your technologies out there, you're forcing the issues, man. All of a sudden, we got hurricane, category 5 hurricanes popping up out of nowhere. The weather's bugged the hell out. Okay, I was listening to the news a couple of days ago, and they saying out there in Africa, the people are going crazy. They're dying over there, man. People going to their farms. The lady was saying it. She said, in Africa, it's not like these other countries. She said she's a wife. She got children. She got a husband. She got to wake up early in the morning, like at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. to make food so they could take it to their farm. Okay? And they could eat. And they go to the farm from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., man. 12-hour shift in their farm. And guess what? They're working in the land that's owned by the husband. She said in their culture, all right, the man is the one who the inheritance is passed down onto. And if he likes, he can give his woman a piece of the land. And be like, okay, you can use this as a garden. You cultivate and so on and so forth on your own free time. But for the most part, you're going to be working in my garden. You're going to be working in my forest. You're going to be working in my field. You're going to be helping me out. So she says she makes the food, that they're going to be eating while they're on their 12-hour shift. And then when they're done, they go back home. She got to cook, for them to eat. And then they got to get ready for the next day. But they're saying that over there, the weather is so messed up, because Esau is manipulating it. All right, but they don't know that. They just think it's just, world events, right? But again, they're manipulating the weather. And they're telling these meteorologists to give false information. One time the people were sitting there waiting for the forecast. They say, oh, today is going to rain. Get ready. This whole month is going to be raining. Get ready. And no rain comes. And then the farmers are sitting there like, yo, we've been waiting for the rain. Ain't nothing coming. And then the next month they'll say, oh, there'll be no rain. Don't worry about it. And then boom, all the rain comes. They're like, what the fuck? Like, we're not even prepared. So the whole shit is all messed up, man. And that's all because we're under the rulership of the devil, Esau, Edom. Okay? Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Now, you can't tell me that Americans are not mourning. No, ain't no American, the typical everyday American is living a good life right now. They're not happy. Okay? If you meet a typical person, you ask them, hey, they say, yo, you see the gas prices? They all gonna say the same thing. Yo, gas prices. I heard yesterday I was watching Redacted. They were saying that, I forget what state it was. They said that the price went up to $5 a gallon. $5 a gallon? That is a huge, huge problem. Huge problem. So if you spend $20, you got only 4 gallons. 4 gallons? What the hell is that going to get you? For $20. See? And I remember years ago, $20 filled up my tank. I remember this. $20 and $21, boom, tank filled. Shit. Anyway, let's go back and finish this article real quick. It says, but the new development bank has come under fire for similar problems with transparency and strict loan requirements, because it's the same people behind this. Okay, they just changing the names like they always do, but it's the same system, same shit over and over again. All right, they're just repackaging the same shit just to make it sound nice. It's like elections every 4 years. They just get you somebody new, a different face from a different party, but it's the same shit. It's just repackaged. Okay, you're gonna get to the same destination, just in a different way. You know, in your mind, of course, right? But those who see, well, we know exactly how these people get down. All right. It says, and according to the Associated Press, at least a dozen countries indebted to China are now dedicating more than a third of their government revenues to paying off ballooning foreign debt. Shit. It says, doubling in size next year, BRICS has the potential for massive growth and influence over the next several years. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. So get that shit out your head. Let's get this real quick. Okay, again, everyone seems to be, they see America going down, so motherfuckers is already in the lurking like, yeah, we got next. No, you don't, nigga. You ain't got shit. We got next. We gonna say loud enough for you to hear. We got next. The Israelites got next. All right, we got next. We've been at the bottom way too long. We got next. Y'all need to go get the fuck out someplace. Go sit down. This is the book of Psalm chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? All right, so coming together. All right, let's get it right here. Verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves. Okay, you got the Chinese, the Russians, the Saudis, the Iranians. They all come together. Okay, now you got athletes from America going over there to Saudi to make some of that Saudi money. You know, they talking about, yo, these people gonna pay you $500 million a year. Like, yo, they got money for days. Like, you know, they got that oil money over there. You know, so niggas is trying to shift their attention to that area, because you got a lot of, you know, athletes, you know, soccer players. They already doing it. They're playing in these Ishmaelite countries and shit. So they're making money big time. You know, they're dealing with the Persians and so on and so forth. They're like, yo, this is where the money's at. You know, these niggas will gift you a damn fucking what's that watch? I forget what that shit is called. These vain, highly valued people think they're so dope watches. I forget what it's called, but they'll just bring that shit to you. Boom, here you go. Put it around your wrist. You be like, yo, this shit is like worth, you know, $3,000. You know, it's just nothing to them. You know, but the scripture says what? Psalms 2 and 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from among us, or from us. Okay, and who's that talking about? It's talking about the Israelites. Okay, these other nations are not even considering that, hey, there's a global power coming around. They're not even coming over here or discussing it, saying, well, you have these people that you Americans have enslaved. Well, what about them? What do they have to say about this? How do they play a role in all of this new fourth industrial revolution that we got going on? Can we sit down and talk to their leaders? They're not doing that shit. And it's not expected to happen that way. Okay? But I'm using this as an example to show you that these other nations all come together. What about us? What about the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes? You got the Persians, okay? You got the Edomites, you got the Ishmaelites, you got the Moabites, you got the Ammonites, you got the Edomites, you got the Hamites. They all come together. Okay, the kings of the earth, they're all coming together. They send themselves together and taking counsel. Okay? Against who? Against the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and against his anointed. Okay? Yahushai himself and the rest of the 144,000 elect men. Alright? Saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from among us. Okay, so we have no dealings with them. Let's finish them off. Let's create a whole new system and exclude them. Okay, because that's what you're seeing. And if they don't want to be a part of our new system, then we're just going to just do away with them. You know? But that's not going to happen. Okay? That will never happen. Okay, it says verse 4, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. All right? And that's the perfect precept for that is what? Is that Job 20? Okay. Job chapter 20 and verse 22 says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Okay, part of the straits, that the straits is what's going to result in the Lord's laughter. Okay, that he that sitteth in the heavens what shall laugh, because Esau is going to be in straits. Okay, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, and that's talking about what? The wars that they're going to be waging. You have internal wars. The Lord said what? If Satan be divided against himself, if a house be divided against itself, how can it stand? You see? So that house that they're building, there's a division there. There's a huge division there. They're not all on the same page. All right, and they're not going to stand. See, on this side, this house that's being built, the house of David, we're all on the same page. Okay, starting with the 144,000, starting with our elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, we are all on the same page. Okay, and we're awaiting the return of our Lord Yahushua. Don't we preach that the Lord is going to come back and destroy this place and set up his kingdom? Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That's what we're waiting for. And that day is fast approaching. Okay. Job 20 verse 23 says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So you have this system that's building, but guess what? In the midst of this system being built, the destruction comes. Okay, so we're that close. Okay, they're gonna be micro C hipping because again, John saw this. Okay, it's a system that he saw. Okay. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So that mark is going to be instituted. They're not advertising it for no reason. They're not creating it for no reason. They're going to use it. Okay? And we've been broadcasting it, warning after warning after warning after warning of what this MOTB is. And when it comes out, you stay away from that shit. Okay? It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Okay? And that bow of steel is talking about what? The missiles. Okay, the missiles, man. All right, it's shot like an arrow. Okay, a bow and arrow. Okay, it's gonna come right here. It's gonna strike these devils right through, man. The whole enterprise is gonna be completely decimated. Okay, the Lord is going to disappoint your hands. you workers and doers of iniquity, man. All right, you evil workers. Okay, your new world order will not come to fruition. Point blank. Period. All right, it's a vain thought, and it's quite laughable to think about it. Okay. It says, doubling in size next year, BRICS has the potential for massive growth and influence over the next several years. Vain. Right? Vain. It says, but it still faces an uphill battle. To unseat the economic and political clout of the G7 nations of the global stage, on the global stage. You see that? You see that? You see that? Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. You see that? So again, this thing is playing out beautifully, man. It's playing out beautifully. You got the left hand side, you got the right hand side, and then within the left hand side, you got the right and the left. Okay, because there is called controlled opposition. Because again, remember the Rockefellers, these devils, they're behind all these changes that's happening. Okay, and they were saying this back in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. That there's going to be a global order coming soon. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a global order coming soon. Okay? And they're the ones who are going to be controlling it and so on and so forth. Okay? Meanwhile, you got Gil Bates, funding groups to kill off 70 million acres of forest to quote unquote save the planet. See? Another devil. And he's going to be destroyed. All right? His whole plan is going to be destroyed. And everything that he's planned, all right, his intentions, his dark, disgusting intentions, all going to be destroyed. All right, your devil's being exposed, and Gil Bates is so dumb. Sometimes I sit there and I wonder, why the hell did they let this guy still talk? He stayed snitching on himself. This nigga here, I mean, the nigga just boy, look at here. He says this shit right on TV. Our last plan is to make sure we have the Vanessas that's going to kill off 15% of the population. And he got to be correct. I said, well, listen. We got conspiracy theories who are watching now. I think it would be better if we don't say our last and final plan. We should say more like the best solution. They got to correct this dumbass nigga. You know? But he's out there. He's telling the world. He don't give a fuck. He's like, this is our plan. Yeah, so I'm saying, I'm just letting them know that this is exactly what we're planning to do. Yes, we got GMO mosquitoes that are going to be spreading diseases. We already got Vanessas for those diseases, right? Yes, we're destroying the earth right now as we speak, and we have Vanessas to help you cope with that. You know, whatever problems you have, we got Vanessas to solve it for you. Okay, so deal with it and let's move on. All right, that's their mindset. That's their mindset. Now, do you want people like that to be ruling over you? Well, we don't. So that's why we're going to be fighting against that shit. All right, straight up, man. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it off there. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to Habakkuk real quick. Okay. Let me finish off again with the precept we started off with. All right, this is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 6. It says, "Shall not all these take up a proverb, so like a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his," right? And that's number one nation that does that is Esau, Edom. Okay, it's built in their fabric because it's the blessing and a curse. Okay, it's a blessing that what they gonna have the fatness of the earth. Okay, and by thy sword shall they live. Okay, so they go around using their sword, which is their missiles, all right, their military power, might, technology, all right, their armaments and so on and so forth, and they wage war, all right, upon the fatness of the earth being the richest. Okay, you got the petroleum, the oil, the gold in different countries. They'll come over there right now and harass your shit and take your shit, you know, with power. You be in your country, they send robots off a plane, they land in the forest someplace, or a drone, drop them off, a parachute, some shit. Motherfuckers drop in the forest somewhere. Next thing you know, they going around in villages, killing people, you know, all because they're doing experiments. Esau is a devil. Okay? But the scripture says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Okay? You going around stealing, robbing, okay? Creating a fraudulent system that can aid you in your schemes, man. Okay? This is how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, thick clay going to the Hebrew word ibatya, which means what? Debt. Heavy debt. Okay? Thick clay, heavy debt that they can't get out of. Okay, that's why the system has to default. They gotta so-called reset. Okay? And during that time, that so-called transition period, that reset period, boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, it's all gonna come to a head. Okay, it's all gonna come to a head, man. All right. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 17. And this is the end result of all these things that we just read about. All right, the building of the BRICS nations and how it's going to affect America's economy. Well, Americans are going to feel it. Okay? They're already feeling it, but it's going to be intensified. The Lord said these are just the beginning of sorrows, just the birth pains. Wait till the birthing itself comes and you see. Okay? You see. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 17, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Okay? Because of what? Restrictions, lockdowns. They saying by this month, September, sometime this month, they're giving dates and shit like that. I don't really like to go into the dates and all that because, you know. But again, we're paying attention. Scriptures talk about watch as well as pray. Okay? Watch as well as pray. So you got to stay watching. All right? It says, for because of their pride in the cities, because of the pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right? So you got, again, like I said, they got these so-called cases, you know, popping up again. They're going to come down with restrictions. Okay, they've done it before. They plan to do it again. They already pushed it out there. They said, oh, we're going to have to bring masks back. People say, hey, listen. So they already know there's going to be resistance. So they know how to approach it this time around. They're coming in hot. They're going to come in hot. Okay. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay, so like I said, this article that we just went into with the BRICS thinking that they're going to set up a new world order, that's going to result in what? In economic downturn out here in America, the West. Okay, and the people are going to lose it because they're not prepared. Okay, this is completely, it's going to catch them completely off guard because they are not prepared. Okay, you got people who got thousands of dollars in the bank account and they haven't even thought about, yo, let me just take some and go invest in gold or silver. They don't even think like that. Why would they? Why would they? See? Anyway, I'm gonna leave it off there. Lord willing, you were edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Hakodash, the water Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.